Hello and welcome to Odds on Champions League, second leg of this very interesting semi-finals. We have Dani Fisichella, we have Alvaro Romeo who are going to play the final. Dani, Alvaro, how are you?
Ciao, Edu. Well, let's leave this to the end. Otherwise, people just switch off. We said it and say goodbye.
Exactly.
Real Madrid, Liverpool.
All right. Let's analyze, of course, both games with all the betting probabilities, all the odds, and all the options that we have to place our bets on these two games. Guys, leave your comments about the games and don't forget to press the like and subscribe. And now let's go on with the show. It is a very special week. Of course, also happy Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim viewers that are for sure enjoying this very special day. And on Tuesday and on Wednesday, we are going to enjoy two great football games. On Tuesday, we have Villarreal, Liverpool checking the odds to qualify for the final. Of course, it's no surprise to see that Villarreal to qualify pays 21. The thing is, after the game in Anfield was one-sided game, Alvaro Emery said that they have to propose something different. They have to attack more. They didn't do the game he expected because Villarreal had absolutely no chance. Is there a slightly chance that Villarreal play a similar game as the one we saw against Bayern Munich and they have some options at least?
It's going to be very difficult for them. I was very disappointed with Villarreal, Edu. Very disappointed because, this is not a team that reaches the Champions League semi-finals every 2 or 3 years just to play this kind of football. What is the point, and I'm sorry to say this, but what is the point of reaching a Champions League semi-final if you don't even try? At the end of the day, you don't reach a semi-final just to lose in the most honorable fashion. You reach a semi-final to try to get to the final. And I do know that Liverpool was better than Villarreal. They are better than Villarreal. They occupy Villarreal's half and they ended up imposing their quality. But Villarreal just didn't dare enough to attack. And I do believe that attacking Liverpool is difficult, but it's not impossible. Benfica scored 3 goals against them, for example. So why did Villarreal have that approach? I don't understand it. But anyway, coming into this second game, Villarreal has to change their approach to the game. They have to occupy Liverpool's half. I have no question about that. They really have to play like against Bayern. And against Bayern at El Madrigal, Villarreal dominated Bayern. So Villarreal has to be looking for something similar, like a domination over Liverpool, which is very difficult. But all the Villarreal players, they should be playing 20 meters higher in the pitch than they played at Anfield, because otherwise that's going to be impossible. Villarreal are not going through a good moment right now. In La Liga, they are only 1 point away from the 8th qualified, Athletic Club Bilbao, meaning that if the Athletic Club Bilbao overtakes them in the table, they won't play European football next season unless something miraculous happens and they win the Champions League. And I'm not even too sure now that if you win the Champions League, you play the next Champions League as well. I mean, honestly, shame on me. But anyway, I believe that this weekend, Unai Emery was constantly thinking about the game against Liverpool, to the point that he rotated many players. Only 𝐬𝐭𝐴, from those that you would say, yes, this guy is part of the lineup of Unai Emery, played 90 minutes. Let's see. But they lost against Alaves. They did heavy rotations. And as I said before, I mean, Villarreal has to occupy Liverpool's half, because otherwise that's going to be impossible. Basically, they have to get against Liverpool the result they got against Juve in Italy. But again, the thing is that Liverpool doesn't lose games normally. This season, they have lost only 3 games. Liverpool 3 games this season, and their last significant loss was in December, because I don't count, and I'm sorry, Dani, the defeat against Liverpool because against Inter, because that one was meaningless in the long run. I mean, Liverpool has lost only to West Ham United, to Leicester and Inter. I find it very difficult that Villarreal is going to qualify this time, but you have to believe, of course. Hopefully Gerard Moreno will be back, and if Gerard Moreno is there, he activates players like Danjuma, he activates players like 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐵, 𝐬𝐭𝐴, and I think that this is the key for Villarreal. Activate the strikers a little bit more because the other day were totally insignificant. And the only player of Villarreal who actually tried to do something was Pedraza. He came in the second half and he was a man fighting against 5 defenders. It's very difficult like this.
And talking about trying, Dani, we have the experience of the semi-finals a couple of years ago. Liverpool playing against an Italian side like Roma. At least Roma tried, they attacked a lot, and they had at one point of the game chances even to qualify for the final.
Yeah, there was a controversial referee decision. I think it was a handball from Trent Robertson. Yes, it could have gone either way if there was VAR. Yes, but it was a less experienced Liverpool side. They were coming into the first Champions League final that they then lost against Real Madrid. This is a much more mature side, and I think they got the luxury in such a difficult running of fixtures that they can go to the Madrigal without needing to attack. These days, if you look at Manchester City, they need to win every single game. Liverpool need to win every single game in the Premier League. They don't have to win this one. And this is a big, big luxury at this moment in time. And in fact, Klopp rested players as well at the weekend and Newcastle. So they're going to have Thiago, Salah, Trent a bit fresher for this one. So that's why they look massive favorites to reach the final and also to win the game. I think the odds for Liverpool to win the game are decent. They're looking for the 10th Champions League European Cup final of their history. And if you go to Villarreal, it's never easy. This season Villarreal are unbeaten at home in the Champions League, but they only won 2 out of 7 games. And normally when Villarreal does well in the Alvaro, to at home.
I think they lost against Manchester United, I think.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. They lost.
Yeah,
they
lost
lost against. They lost in the group stage. So yeah, it's 1 defeat, but only 2 wins for Villarreal. And in only 10 goals in all these games that the Villarreal played at home in the Champions League. And normally Villarreal at home, they score 1 or 2 maximum. So they do well when they keep the game low-scoring game, if you like. There was a 2-2 against Atalanta, but when they keep a low-scoring game, they can actually have chances. If the game is high-scoring, Villarreal, I think they are often on the losing side when it goes to Europe. And obviously, as Alvaro said, they will be forced to do something that they are not used to do. If Moreno is there, it's a different team, but it's still doubtful. And when you look at Liverpool, you have to admit they have picked at the right time. Unbeaten in the last 17 Premier League games, won 16 out of 17, 86 goals scored in the Premier League, 2 more than City anyway, 22 goals conceded, 1 more than City, 8 clean sheets in the last 12, including the one against Villarreal, and considering that in the last 12 games, 2 games were against, of course, Liverpool. So, still the numbers are impressive. I think Villarreal has to go for it. Villarreal will have to attack from the start, and that could produce a high-scoring game, I think, which will obviously favor Liverpool. So my first tip would be over 1.25 goals in the first half, which pays 220. So basically, if there is only 1 goal in the first half, you lose half your stake. 2 goals or more, you win 220.
The odds for Liverpool to win, Magret is telling us, also Pronósticos Deportivos, hello to everyone, is 1.74. Dan is saying that, and it's completely true, that Liverpool, they don't have to win this one to play the final. So there is some value, actually, if we go for a draw or if we go for a small victory of Villarreal, which is more unlikely. And talking about the goals, we have goals over 2.5 goals, pays only 1.7, under 2.2. Alvaro, Liverpool playing away in the knockout stages, we've seen that they are super dangerous playing in the counter-attack, even more than at Anfield. Perhaps with Villarreal trying to attack, Liverpool are going to have spaces to hurt Unai Emery's team.
Yeah, and their centre-backs are not particularly fast. Let's see if Raúl Albiol, by the way, is fully fit, because it looks like he wouldn't be 100% for the game. And we know that Pau Torres also suffers when he has to run towards his own goal. So yeah, maybe Villarreal opens up a little bit and they have this daring approach that Daniele and I are talking about. They will obviously concede more in the counters, and we do know that Liverpool is a specialist in the counters as well, and they are very good with switching the play from left to right, or for example with sending long balls. Van Dijk, for example, can do that. Henderson can do that. Long balls to Mohamed Salah, and there is something that Salah does in the counters that reminds me of the best Luis Suarez in Liverpool 2014, that even if the ball is not his, the defender has the advantage to take it. Normally Mohamed Salah manages to get it off him, like Luis Suarez did a lot of times in 2014, because he's excellent pressurizing for individual balls, for the duels. So yes, I really think that this is a very difficult challenge for Villarreal. I'm not saying this is impossible, because we have seen Villarreal beating Juventus 3-0, but there is a gulf in quality between Juventus and Liverpool too. So, I think that if you check at the numbers, Edu, Liverpool has suffered only 3 defeats this season, right? West Ham United, Leicester City, both in 2021, and Inter in 2022. And the last time Liverpool lost for over 2 goals, or for 2 goals or more, was against Real Madrid last April. So the last time that Liverpool got a result that would send this game to the extra time and the penalty shootout was in April 2021. They don't tend to lose by 2 goals. Let's put it that way, okay? It's been already 13 months. So I'm going to go for the following. I cannot commit myself to the full-time market, even though the value over there for Villarreal getting a marginal win is okay. I'm going to go for both teams to score. I like that one, 172. And Asian handicap of plus 1.25 for Villarreal. That pays 157. I know it is a little bit conservative, this one, but I can expect, for example, something like Villarreal not losing heavily, which in that case will give you your money.
Sir, what is telling us 1-0? Sorry, Dani, to be honest, Liverpool to win 1-0. To be honest, I expect like 1-0, 2-0 victory for Liverpool and putting the game to sleep and thinking in the Premier League.
Look, if there is a silver lining for Villarreal, is the fact that in the previous 2 knockout stages, when Liverpool in the second leg didn't have to attack, they were not great. They lost against Inter, and they left Inter, a good spell of possession. Then obviously Sanchez got sent off, and the game when they were 1-0, Inter had basically no chances. But against Benfica at home, they were not great either. They conceded 3. I think they took the foot off the gas a little bit. So that could be a silver lining for Villarreal, maybe a Liverpool that, yes, when they don't need to attack, they are not as threatening. But yes, I think the value here really is for any Liverpool win, is for a Liverpool win with a Salah on the score sheet. And for example, it could be a Liverpool Asian handicap minus 0.25 in the first half, which is 191. So basically betting on Liverpool to win the first half, but if they draw, you only lose half a stake. So that's Liverpool Asian handicap 0.25 in the first half, 191.
All right, Fausal is telling us both teams to score. So we have these tips from Dani, from Alvaro. I think everyone here expects Liverpool to play the final in Paris. Let's see if they are able also to win in La Cerámica, or if Villarreal propose a different football. I hope so, no? Some English commentator was saying that Villarreal is a disgrace for football. No, they are not, but they have to be more offensive, as Alvaro said, at least to try to play the final. Yeah, Alvaro?
Jason Candy, he works for the station I work for as well. The truth is that video became viral. I don't totally disagree with what lies behind that comment. The fact that Villarreal just didn't try. But no, they are not a disgrace for football. Manchester United lost 4-0 to Liverpool 10 days ago. They got much more money. That, if anything, is a disgrace. No?
Exactly. Let's move on to the next game we have on Wednesday, Real Madrid, Man City. The odds are again huge for Real Madrid, 3.5. If we go to qualify for the final, we have Madrid 4.77 to qualify, Man City 1.25. And Alvaro already said that he thinks Real Madrid is going to play the final, so you have good odds there.
No, I hope so. It's good for us, Edu, for you and I. It's good for our business as
For
well.
sure.
No, of course. But yeah, when it comes to Champions League, I also prefer Spanish clubs to go through, with the exception of Mourinho's Real Madrid. I'm very sorry about that, but I think that Real Madrid in particular, with that, victim role that Mourinho was playing, I just didn't like it. It wasn't for me. But anyway, look, I think that the value in Real Madrid qualifying, you said 477?
Yeah.
Edu?
Correct.
Okay, I had a 433, but it's true that I checked the odds a couple of hours ago, so that might have fluctuated a little bit. Anyway, Real Madrid won La Liga title in the weekend. They beat Espanyol 4-0. From the well-known Ancelotti lineup, only one player played 90 minutes, Thibaut Courtois. So yeah, Carlo Ancelotti rested, and then he smoked a cigar with the players after winning the title. So congratulations to them. It's not so easy to win La Liga, not so easy. And let's see if Real Madrid manages to get back-to-back La Liga title, because they haven't done that since 2008. So I think that the next assignment for Real Madrid domestically is to win back-to-back titles. They've been the best team in Spain, and I have to say that the season started with a few uncertainties, because Varane and Sergio Ramos left. Those two center backs won 3 Champions League together, or 4, and Alaba and Militao were suddenly the backbone of Real Madrid at the back, and that worked very well. Then a player like Vinicius has improved exponentially. He's one of the most dangerous players in the world, and I think that Real Madrid in the Champions League are doing fantastic. I mean, they left behind Inter in the group stage, because Inter came second, PSG, and Chelsea. And against Manchester City the other day, I think they played well. I think Manchester City, if anything, played slightly better, but Real Madrid didn't do a bad game, in my opinion at least. They always stayed in the game, despite trailing 2-0 and 4-2. They lost 4-3. Casemiro is back now. And Real Madrid, I think that they saw at the Etihad that they've got better players to kill a game than Manchester City. I'm going to explain this. Real Madrid didn't have as many attacking sequences as Manchester City the other day, but when they have one, they choose much better. In the counter-attacks, they know who to pass the ball to. They finish that attacking sequence with a shot, and normally that shot is pretty dangerous. Manchester City needs to create much more possession game in order to have clear chances. This is my opinion, at least. And the best chances of Manchester City came after Real Madrid individual errors. You cannot put it on the team that, for example, Eder Militao makes that massive mistake that gives him Riyad Mahrez a scoring chance. I think you have to put it on Eder Militao. It's his fault. So I think that Real Madrid will have to polish the individual mistakes in order to beat Manchester City. Of course, Manchester City is a fantastic side. In the weekend, they beat Leeds 4-0. They scored 2 goals from set pieces, which is something very interesting, because Manchester City this season has been good in that department as well, with the likes of 𝐿, Laporte, Diaz. They've got tall players, even Rodri, who can hurt you in set pieces. So Real Madrid defense will have to pay a lot of attention to the set piece game of Pep Guardiola. Then Kevin De Bruyne didn't play. Bernardo played just a little bit. So Guardiola rotated as well, but Manchester City is not as relaxed as Real Madrid. Real Madrid had a very relaxing weekend. They won the title, and Manchester City, they are, fighting toe-to-toe with Liverpool, one of the greatest teams of the last 10 years, to win the Premier League. And I think that mentally that is very draining as well. Manchester City, on Saturday at 5:30, they were second in the Premier League. They needed to win to regain already the first spot, and that is very draining too. So I think that Manchester City comes into this game slightly more tired. And my prediction for this game is the following. I believe that if this Manchester City plays like in the second half at Wanda Metropolitano, they are going to lose. That was a terrible game from Manchester City. Yep. Probably they want to control the game much more. I wouldn't be surprised if Pep Guardiola plays like 4 or 5 midfielders, players who can have the ball, players who can keep the possession, who can slow down the game a little bit, because if they lose control, they are going to lose the game. And the more academic the game is for Manchester City, the better for them. But the more emotional the game becomes, then Real Madrid will increase their chances. So this is the way I see it. This is my angle into the game. And, there are many odds that I like. You mentioned Real Madrid to qualify. That's a lot of money. But if you want to go for something perhaps a little bit more conservative, why not to think of something like over 1.5 goals in the second half, 1.72 with Real Madrid having to attack, or even a double chance for Real Madrid in the game in 90 minutes. That pays 184. And I've got another one, another odd that I will say, or I will announce later when Daniele does his prediction.
Yeah,
Look,
Dani, talking about mentality, sorry, of course, Real Madrid won the title. They celebrated with the supporters. They couldn't do it in the last Liga because it was in the middle of the pandemic. And automatically, Ancelotti was saying we have to focus on Wednesday. There is a hunger of this team, of course, ahead of the semifinals. And we also saw it after the first leg. Guardiola was kind of depressed, and Real Madrid players were, okay, we are alive. Now we have to come back to Bernabeu. And I think the City players were thinking we lost the opportunity to set a foot in Paris.
They did, because I think they should have won by 2 goals or more. But I fundamentally disagree with what Alvaro said. Look, I cannot take out of my mind the fact that Real Madrid, in all these knockout stages of this Champions League, they've been second best most of the time, apart from the last 30 minutes against PSG and 50 minutes against Chelsea. All the other games, I think they've been second best. They've been dominated. The opposition had the ball more. They had more chances. Look at the number of chances Manchester City created all in the first half. They should have been 3-4-0. Maybe Manchester City with a number 9, I know they place the false 9, etc., but with a poacher, with a goal scorer, with a little bit more of a cool head, they would have been clear 3 or 4-0, and the game would have been too bad. So I can't really think. I know Real Madrid has got many lives. They do over and over again, despite not being maybe the best team in Europe. They always get there, so credit to them. But can they outscore Manchester City? Well, they can win 1-0, and that would mean outscoring, but I don't think Manchester City go there and not score. Yes, they didn't do that at Atletico, but that's a different kind of game. So the only way Real Madrid can qualify, it's by outscoring Manchester City, maybe taking the game to extra time, and then, yes, as Alvaro said, and I agree with him, the more emotional it gets, the experience of Real Madrid and their players could count. But when it comes to Manchester City, I think it's like Liverpool. They have picked. Yes, they will be tired because they played at Leeds, but Pep changed 5 players, so they made a lot of rotations. And I think with the players returning from injuries and suspensions, Manchester City have a slight advantage on Real Madrid. Okay, Fernandinho is going to be back, massive, but 𝐿𝐭𝐴 will be back, so he will be on the right hand side marking Vinicius. On the left hand side, you might see ACCA, you might see sorry, you might see Stones, or maybe they change with Cancelo. Walker is not there. That's a big miss for them, because I think he would have been the best man to look after Vinicius. Let's see, because I think it's going to be a more balanced game anyway, because again, we got better defensive players on the pitch. We will not see Fernandinho right back, for example. So that could be an advantage for Real Madrid, but I still don't think Manchester City go there and score only 1 goal. Look at the numbers of Man City as well. They won 5 of the last 8. 2 were against Liverpool, scored 24 in the last 9, kept 7 clean sheets in the last 12. Again, okay, against the top oppositions, they couldn't do it, but the numbers say they and it's very difficult to stop them from scoring. And then there is a little bit of statistical odds against Real Madrid. Every time they lost the first leg of the Champions League semi-final, they always went out. That happened in 5 occasions. Okay, obviously they play at Bernabeu. The environment is going to play a big part. I'm not saying necessarily Real Madrid are going to lose this one, but I don't think they're going to qualify. So my first tips will be a double chance 1x for Real Madrid. I like Alvaro said, but you can combine it with a both to score, which is 161 on its own, and that makes it 302. So that's interesting, a 1x and both to score, or you can pick them individually for your rack.
And perhaps we can trust more Real Madrid, Alvaro, in the second half, seeing that Real Madrid is very strong physically this year with Pintus as the training manager. And Man City, we saw it in Metropolitano that there is some fatigue. It's true that the squad is super big, but they were very tired at the Metropolitano and they cannot relax in the Premier League.
No, they can't. They can't. Back to the scoring in the second half thing you mentioned, Edu. I I said before, over 1.5 goals in the second half. I like that one a lot, 172. But there is another one that I really like here. Real Madrid to score in both halves, 375. This is the one that I spotted as the little gem, as the little thing, little gem hidden here among the odds. I really like that one too, because Real Madrid will have to attack, and they are scoring many goals this season in many different games. No matter how strong the opponents are, they score 3 against Chelsea, for example, 3 against PSG. They score 3 against Manchester City. So they are playing at home. Real Madrid to score in both halves.
Alvaro, against PSG at home, they scored 3 in the second half. Against Chelsea, they scored 2 in the second half. So they don't normally score in both halves. But I agree with you. If you trust Real Madrid to go through, for them to score in the both halves is the one to go.
They scoring against Manchester City in both halves as well.
Yeah, they did well, but
don't forget that.
But the goals were gifted by Manchester City. Before you said
no way.
The goals
were not gifted. Of course, the goals were not gifted, because otherwise you have to say that Gabriel Jesus' goal was gifted by David Alaba.
I agree with you. You said some of the Man City goals were individual mistakes, but some of the Real Madrid goals are massive individual mistakes. Look at the Vinicius goal. I'm not looking at Fernandinho. He's not his role. But why doesn't Laporte come across to defend against the penalty is a stupid mistake by Laporte. The first goal, 𝐬𝐭𝐴, it's there or thereabout. So again, there are a lot of mistakes in both sides. We don't have to, exaggerate the capacity of scoring. Is also led by mistakes as well.
Yeah, but I think that this is part of football, Dani. That's my point. I mean, it's a Champions League semi-final, and mistakes may happen because both teams have this frantic approach to the game. And I would like to single out a couple of things very quickly. I mean, there is no player on the pitch that can score Benzema's first goal at the Etihad. It's impossible. Nobody at Manchester City can score that goal. I mean, that goal was sensational. It's not only the goal of a striker; it's the goal of a top striker at the peak of his powers. And I think that Benzema. It's an incredible goal, really. If you have played football twice in your life, you know that scoring that goal with your bad foot, because Benzema is right-footed, he scored it with the left, hunting the ball in the air and putting it there for the goalkeeper, and it was impossible for him because the ball hit the post and kissed the net. That goal was sensational. No player can score that goal in Manchester City, in my opinion, and I think that Benzema will play a massive factor here. And then another thing. I watched Manchester City against Real Madrid, and every time Real Madrid had a counter-attack, Real Madrid suffered a lot. Manchester City suffered a lot. In fact, the only team in Europe that doesn't have any defensive frailties for me right now is Liverpool. But Manchester City are the best defense in the Premier League. Yes, they are, at least number-wise. But for example, the other day against Leeds United, Rubén Díaz and Aymeric Laporte, they were very bad in some actions. They weren't resolute. Some deep or some passes that didn't have clearly. How do I put it this way? So some balls that went to in the middle of the center halves, for example, didn't have an owner. No Manchester City player said, "This is mine and I'm going for it." Rubén Díaz and Laporte were very dubious, and I think that this is very important too. I think that Manchester City at the back, they've got a great system, but they don't have a leader if Rubén Díaz is not 100%, as he is not 100% right now. So I think that they can suffer from that. The other day, for example, it's true, Dani. In Vinicius' goal, Aymeric Laporte should have tried to close Vinicius' channel, but he didn't. Why? Because he was too worried of Karim Benzema as well. So I think that Van Dijk, for example, would have never done that. Or a player with more defensive defensive hunger wouldn't have done that. So I don't rate Manchester City centre-backs that much. I think that in easy games, they managed to get a clean sheet because Manchester City's system is perfect to get a clean sheet because they dominate with the possession and they don't give you the ball. But in the European nights, they conceded 3 goals against Leipzig, 2 goals against PSG at the Parc des Princes. They conceded 3 against Real Madrid. So I think that the defense of Manchester City is one thing in the Premier League, but when it comes to the European platform, then it's a totally different thing.
I think just to finish off, I agree with you. I think Manchester City defensively are they got the flows. Let's put it that way. But as you said, I mean, it's summarized very well. That's the way elite football goes. You don't have to look too much at the errors, at the mistake, at the flows, but at the capacity to generate those mistakes in the opposition. Just to conclude, I think I mean we will all agree that if Madrid has any chance of going through, has to be a high-scoring game. It cannot be a 1-0 game, I think.
Yeah.
They have to outscore Manchester City. For this reason, my second pick would be over 3 goals, which is 196, which is slightly cautious, if you like. But yes, 3 goals, only 3 goals, 2-1 each way, 3-0 each way. You get your money back. Over 3 goals, you win 196.
The bookies expect a lot of goals, as we can see by the low odds. Ancelotti was saying that football is a very simple game, especially when you are attacking, and the tactics is going to Benzema. Let's see, because mentally I think it's going to be very important. Bernabeu is going to be boiling.
And we also have to say one thing, Edu. I think you agree with me. Real Madrid have got absolutely nothing to lose.
No, the season is already great, in my opinion. No one expected
2 titles.
2 titles.
Already.
No one expected this campaign, especially La Liga. Everyone said that Atletico had the better squad and Real Madrid won La Liga in April. So praise to Carlo Ancelotti. And we have many comments here. Real Madrid to score in an ACCA. For Armin is telling us also a draw. Both teams to score in the second half for Sarwar. Double chance for Armilosain. So there are many options. Both teams to score in the first half or in the second half. I think it pays very well if you go for the full time. Of course, you have very low odds because the president is seeing a crazy game. Someone was saying that I have a sad face coming to this game because I suffer a lot when Real Madrid is playing in this Champions League. It's been great, I think, for a neutral fan, but it's a completely roller coaster. Let's see if we enjoy also many goals at Bernabeu. And do you guys have an ACCA to finish the Champions League semi-finals videos?
Yes, of
Dani?
course. Okay, so Liverpool to win the first half in Villarreal, and Real Madrid, Manchester City, both to score. We have to go both to score in the second half to get some decent odds, which are total 648.
Alvaro, yours?
My ACCA is very low in comparison to Daniele's because there are only 2 games and it's about the half of what Daniele is giving you. It would be Asian handicap plus 1.5 for Villarreal, over 2.5 goals in Real Madrid, Manchester City, and an Asian handicap of +1 for Real Madrid, just to make it very conservative. And that pays 332.
Guardiola coming back to Bernabeu, he's usually great. His statistics are great at Bernabeu. We haven't said that. Alaba is going to be missing. I'm curious actually to see if a neutral supporter is back in Real Madrid or Man City, no? Because this club is a bit special. Let me know in the comments if you are neutral, who are you supporting, Real Madrid or Man City to play probably the final against Liverpool in Paris? Alvaro, Dani, it's been a pleasure analyzing with you all this journey, all these games in the Champions League. And we have one more video, of course, to analyze the final in Paris. Thank you, and see you very soon.
See you soon, Edu.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.